Well, it's one of those days where clearly I should be paying for the opportunity to do this radio show instead of getting paid. You can't get the smile off my face. This speech by Donald Trump in front of the joint session of Congress might have been better than a Super Bowl. Not necessarily a Super Bowl win, but this was the Super Bowl of speeches. And I'm just going to say it right here, my headline right at the top, because I know you're thinking it. And I know you're probably afraid to say it. And I know you're probably afraid to have people think that you're so into it and so excited and so happy to be an American right now and the progress that we're making that it sounds silly to say it, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to say it. That was the greatest speech I've ever seen in my life. Ever. Full stop. Oh, I've read the Gettysburg Address. I've watched I Have a Dream. I've seen Kennedy. Ask not. I know all the historical speeches. There has never been anything like this one. And everybody on the left is running around screaming, saying it was a partisan speech, and it was not. Let me explain. Donald Trump even invited the left. Folks, we're winning. He turned right to him. He said, we're winning. At least tonight. At least tonight. Just show a little solidarity, and let's make America great together. Just one night. One night, just jump on the wagon. Because this train has left the station. This country's getting better. He started the speech with, we are back. That was just so fun. At the very beginning of the thing, he said, he got it all set up. The applause stops, and he pauses. And in typical Trump fashion, he says, America is back. And the place goes crazy. And right from the beginning, the Dems were back on their heels as if they were, listening to all the idiots out there that used to be political advisors like James Carville, who's now 80, and spent the entire day doing interviews all over the country saying the Democrats should sit on their hands and look grim because America's in a grim place. You know what America's not in right now? America's not in a grim place in any way, shape, or form. There's instant polling from the speech, and I'm not putting much into that. Okay, I'm going to be different. That's my downer for today. The only people you can poll that watch the speech are not the people that hate Trump. Trump haters were not going to watch the speech. So that polling is off. People watching the speech were going to love it because it was mostly Trump people. But if you look at polling across America, what we know about America is optimistic. They feel good about these policies. They believe the country's moving in the right direction, and they love America. And sometimes, while we know Donald Trump is a doer, and he rolls up his sleeves, and we've seen what he's done in his first 43 days, we know he's doing the job. Every now and then, every single one of us needs a cheerleader or a motivational coach. You need somebody. Would Brady have been Brady without Belichick? Would Mahomes be Mahomes without Andy Reid? These are real questions to ask. I've watched sports, politics, careers, media, whatever your profession may be, and you know this. You have bad times where you question whether you're doing what's right, and somebody has been there, whether it's a father figure, whether it is your father, whether it's a friend, whether it's your boss, that picks you up, motivates you, and gets you going again. Sometimes you got to reboot the computer. Trump rebooted last night for the entire country. Anybody that was wavering or waffling or getting concerned about all these federal workers that are losing their jobs, they got the proverbial shot in the arm that they needed last night. This speech was the greatest speech I've ever seen. It started with incredible humor. So much fun, especially when he was talking about Doge and the ridiculous things that we're spending money on. It was hysterical. I'm texting my buddies. I'm like, dude, this guy is free entertainment, and this is funnier than a stand-up comedy show. It was hysterical, the things that we are spending our money on. You can't even imagine the waste, the corruption, the stupidity, and the ridiculous things that we do. And I'm laughing because you have to laugh. When it comes to our federal government and wasted spending, you can't take it seriously. We will somewhere in the future. When we clean this government up, we will somewhere in the future take that seriously. But you can't right now. You have to laugh at this stuff. Transgender mouse surgeries, it's insane. And the Democrats are sitting there and they didn't get shown enough. That's the one thing is they didn't get shown enough, but we had an ejection. This was like a baseball game. The manager went out in the first inning because he's peed off about the day before. That happens all the time or used to in baseball. If you're upset at the umpire from the night before, and you can go out at the beginning of the game and you didn't get any satisfaction, at the start of the game, you just go out and pick a fight with the guy, you bust out a couple of words, and you get launched right then and there. You go out to get thrown out. That happens. That's what Al Green did. Embarrassed his whole party. Embarrassed everything they do. Their little sad paddles that they held up, what were those? What are they, kindergartners? This was not an auction. What were those things? Does anything scream Democrat more than those silly little sad paddles they had? That's what's trending now is the term sad paddle. If you're a sad little person and you're not happy to be in there, but you know it's your job and you have to be there, you hold up a sad paddle. I don't like Elon. Save Medicaid. Save Medicaid? What am I missing on the Social Security Medicaid thing? I cover this stuff closely. I watch it all. What am I missing? They just making stuff up now that the Republicans going to get rid of Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security? They're cutting waste from Social Security so we can keep it afloat. It's the exact opposite. I don't even understand the point of the sad paddles. They couldn't have looked more like children. It was the saddest thing in the world. Pete just said a little bit ago, it's one thing in sports to go out and be really good on a given night. You know, you can go win the Masters as a golfer by going low on the back nine, but it doesn't happen very often. Sometimes somebody plays well on the back nine, 1 or 2 under, and wins the Masters, but the guy they passed hit it in the water twice because they choked. And this was the Super Bowl of speeches. This was 43 days of pent-up frustration by the Democrats, watching Trump do more in 43 days than Joe Biden did in 4 years. Turning America into something that will be so great and so powerful and so popular with the citizens that there is nothing they can say or do to change it, and they know it. They literally don't like this country. They don't like the founding of this country. They don't like the things that our founding fathers stood for. They don't like the Constitution. They don't like so many things about America, and they had to sit there and listen to this thing, and they had their chance. They seriously, they would have been so much better off the last 6 weeks if they'd just gone along with it. So, you know what? We'll give it a chance. We're on board. We'll see what happens. Let's just see what happens. Because there will be missteps. Something will go wrong. Trump will make a mistake. Elon's going to make a mistake. There's going to be missteps. But they just gave Trump so much more line last night with their pathetic behavior in the chamber. Al Green gets kicked out. He's warned twice by Mike Johnson, not exactly an imposing figure. Ooh, Mike Johnson's getting on me. Oh, no, not the speaker. Bang, bang, bang. He hits the gavel like he's, you know, some little kid with a Lego set. He doesn't want to hit it too hard. Mike Johnson's about as docile as they get. You better pipe down or we're going to kick you out of here. And then he doesn't stop. And now Mike Johnson's getting scared because guess who's in front of Mike Johnson? POTUS. And POTUS is Trump. At one time, he saluted Trump. At one time, he bowed like they do in Japan. Trump came up and he just kind of bowed to him. Did you guys watch Mike Johnson? Mike Johnson is in awe of Donald Trump. So now Mike Johnson, who's like the nicest, kindest, gentlest guy in the world, is like, oh, crap, Al Green's a problem. Oh, I got to warn him again. Tap, tap, tap. We will have order in the chamber or I'll call the sergeant of arms to arms. And Green wouldn't sit down. And that was it. Bang on the gavel. And here came the sergeant at arms and out went Al Green. And they cut to Nancy Pelosi and she's sitting there and there are videos from inside the chamber that somebody came up to her when this was happening as if she's still in charge of the Democrat Party, which apparently she is. Although she didn't really know where she was, it didn't seem last night. And she looked ill. At one point she was on her lips like crazy and she was waffling around her seat like she had hemorrhoids or something. It was really bizarre looking. It was strange. I know she had the hip surgery and she's been not well, but it's so sad. That's a bad look for them too. But somebody very important came up to her as Al Green was doing this, and she wouldn't even look at Al Green. She wouldn't look to the right. She wouldn't look at any of the Republicans. They wouldn't even acknowledge family members who lost loved ones to illegal alien criminals. They couldn't clap for a 13-year-old minority boy that has beaten brain cancer. And on top of that, the pundits on the left-leaning networks, after it was all over, actually attacked the use of the young boy. They attacked it because it was so good. Trump wasn't taking credit for curing cancer. He found a young man that beat cancer because we're getting better at cancer. We've come a long way. And this young man did it, and all he ever wanted to do was be a police officer. That wasn't about cancer. It wasn't about the boy. It was about service to country. It was, if you're a young person, it's okay to aspire to be a police officer. In fact, we think it's so damn cool. Here's Sean Curran, the director of the Secret Service, who's about to make you an honorary member of the Secret Service. And the kid freaked out. He just loved it. He had no clue it was coming. Later, another teenager, Trump says, we just accepted you into West Point, and he freaked out. And so what happened at that point? The 13-year-old kid, DJ Daniels, who had cancer, comes down the aisle and steps down and high-fives the kid that's going to West Point. Folks, this was Americana. This was patriotism on display. This was American greatness. The Democrats can't even see it. They go on afterwards and they blast Trump, saying, well, Trump didn't cure cancer. He's cutting funding from cancer. Well, okay, there's a lot of ways to cut, and I'll be the bad guy. I don't think cutting cancer funding out of the federal budget's a horrible idea. You know what's got more funding than anything on this planet from every single country everywhere? Cancer research. We spend more on cancer research than pretty much anything on this planet, and we should. We're the human race. We should be doing that. But what I've learned is the government isn't very good at it. Remember, it was government money that got us COVID. Thank you. Let's mess around with some monkeys and some bats over here in Wuhan and see if we can develop something that, the gain of function research that we were doing. Let's see what we can find with this COVID and see if it goes forward and does this. Oh, it got loose. It got out of the lab. There we go. I'm not sure the government is where the money should be coming from. We got the Stowers Cancer Institute in Kansas City. We have research hospitals. Yes, they get federal grants, but there's a lot of public money. There's a lot of rich people die and leave all their money to cancer research. There's no shortage of cancer research dollars. But that's what they wanted to turn this speech into, is that Trump didn't cure cancer and he's cutting money from cancer research. That's not what I heard. When I was watching this, I was like, look at these two young people that want to serve. One wants to go to West Point. One wants to be a police officer. Look at these great young kids. This is something to aspire to. This is what I was taught when I was younger. I didn't heed the call to service, but I would have. I would hope it would have been in communications or something like that, because I wouldn't be very good at fixing a tank or shooting a gun. But I could work in communications for the military or my country. I could help in many ways. I'd be happy to. You find your path in life. And these young people's path is service to America. This was about patriotism. The Democrats don't even understand. They think they know art and movies and books and all these things. Trump is the ultimate understatesman. We always think he's just a bombastic, over the top. They try to choreograph things from Hollywood on the left. Trump has a knack to these things like nobody else. You put it together, and the undertone here wasn't, and he wasn't overtly talking about this in his speech, but the undertone is, it's cool to be young and want to serve your country. Let's go. Military signups are way through the roof. Let's go. Let's do this. We're America. We're great. We're badass. Come join us. We're going to ride. And it just seeped its way throughout the entire speech. And if you can literally cross over from real estate to politics to rewriting the way a country works, you're the best I've ever seen. And that speech was absolutely the best speech I've seen in my lifetime. 913-408-7957. That's 913-408-7957. I would love to hear your thoughts next on Uncanceled. This is KCMO Talk Radio.
It's Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled, on 95.7 FM, KCMO Talk Radio.
Welcome back to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio. I'm Kevin Kietzman. We're taking your phone calls after the greatest speech I've ever seen in my life. I know that a lot of people out there are afraid to say it, but you know what? I'm old enough now. I know it when I see it. I know it when I see it. When I watch a pitcher throw a no-hitter, I know it when I see it. When I see a golfer go out and win the Masters by 6 strokes, I know it when I see it. I'm telling you, you know when you're seeing greatness. You watch Tiger Woods play golf. You watch Patrick Mahomes go out with a perfect quarterback rating and put 48 points on the board. You know you're watching something you haven't seen before. And it's the best. It's the greatest. And that was it. And it was, more than anything else, it was a win for America. It wasn't a win for the GOP. It wasn't a win for the Republicans. It probably was. But that's not what it was about. Trump's moved on from party. He's so far above the Republican Party now. Like, they're literally just kissing his butt right and left. He is so above this party. We've been so disappointed by the Republican Party for so long, we haven't even recognized that he has just risen above it. He's moved on. He's moving way past this party and on to everybody else in America to convince them that this is the way to do it. This could be lasting. This could be generational for the United States. It is so impressive. Let's go to the phones. Want to know what you think. Mark is up first in Shawnee. Good morning, Mark. You're on KCMO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kevin. That's a great commentary. I agree with you 100%. And when I think, what can I add to what you just said? Nothing. The point I'd like to emphasize, and what disturbed me the most, and this tells you everything you need to know about the Democratic Party. They changed Kamala's answer. They lied to attempt a coup of the American people and the will of the American people. And when that didn't work, their hatred and vitriol for a real leader is so deep that they couldn't recognize a 13-year-old kid who's got cancer. And then the moment was just, he went up and hugged the other guy that got into the academy he wanted to get in. It's a black kid hugging a white kid. Everything that they said that the Republican Party and Trump is against, he destroyed every bit of it. But what is it going to take for Democrats, the ones listening to your show today, that can't look at that and say, I got to move on from this party? If you don't have empathy and compassion for your fellow mankind, I've got no use for you. None.
Man, I love you. That's a great call. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. That was just outstanding. Yep, fantastic. Let's move on to Stu in Rosedale. Good morning, Stu. You're on KCMO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kevin. Well, 2 things I want to tell you about. One about Al Green and another not. And the first one is I wrote some of my thoughts about the speech last night, and folks who want to read them can read them on American Thinker this morning. And the
Awesome.
essay is titled, "Would somebody explain this to me, please?"
Okay.
But regarding Al Green, he made news about a month ago when he declared that he was committing himself to a new effort to impeach Donald Trump. And then he made the news again last night. Now, I'm 76 years old. I'm in the age demographic that your sponsors and ratings people don't even care about anymore. But I remember stuff. Well, be that as it may, I remember stuff. And so the name Al Green conjures for me the great soul singer who gave us the 1971 monster hit, Let's Stay Together, which was produced by the great Willie Mitchell of Memphis. And that
Stu, you're wandering. You're wandering off track. Right. Stay with what happened last night.
That Al Green made the news in 1974 when he was in the bathtub and a former girlfriend, Mary Woodson, poured a pan of boiling grits on him.
Okay.
And Mary Woodson allegedly was so overcome with remorse that she killed herself with Al Green's gun.
All right, Stu, I'm going to stop you right there. Thank you, Mark. Awesome, Stu. We got to stick to the speech. Everybody wants to know about the speech. Go to American Thinker and read Stu's speech. I think it'll be about the speech. His script will be about the speech and probably not about Al Green getting soaked with grits in a bathtub 50 years ago. Love you, buddy. That's not what we're here for today. We're just not. We got to stay on point a little bit. So we got others that want to chime in. We will get to you if you want to join the show and give me your thoughts on. Does anybody else believe this was the greatest speech they ever saw? I do. 913-408-7667. $7.95.7. You're listening to Uncanceled. I'm Kevin Kietzman, and you are not getting the smile off my face, baby. It is all good today on KCMO Talk Radio.
Kevin Kietzman is Uncanceled and back on Kansas City Radio, 10 to 11 a.m. on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
If I could play piano, I'd be playing that fast today. Yes, I would. That's how great I feel. A couple of notes here. Our last caller, Stu, made some comment about being in the 70s and sponsors and whatever. No. You just heard Window World, and folks in their 70s need new windows on their homes too. So I just want to welcome our friends at Window World back onto KCMO Talk Radio. I know they've been on here, and I've been cutting their commercials for a while. I've known John Gillette and the people at Window World for 20 years now. We go way back to when I was on sports radio. These are outstanding people, great customer service. Their products are made in America. I hate, he's a lot like us. John's just a lot like us. He runs a great business, loves America. If you're considering windows, siding, or doors, please consider Window World. I will personally get involved if you have any issues whatsoever, which you won't. I'll be more than happy to help because I know them personally. These are just great, great folks. Also, it's Pie Week, and if you go to sweetdeals.com, there are all kinds of great coupons. A couple of my favorite places, Pizza Tacio and Old Shawnee Pizza, which is close to my house. You can, for $25, you can buy a $50 gift card. So it's basically half price. It's great. You can use it anytime you want. Sweetdeals.com. When you hear those spots, there's all kinds of great local deals. There's all kinds of other restaurants and stuff there, things that you can buy. Go there and check it out. Sweetdeals.com. We love the great work that they do in helping us all save money when we want to save a buck or two. That's a good thing. All right, back to the phones we go. The greatest speech of all time. Mark is chiming in from Independence. Good morning, Mark. You're on KCMO Talk Radio.
Hey, good morning. It's a great program. I saw all the Reagan speeches, and I have to agree with you. This was the best because Trump came right out because of his successes. He hit them with the border. That was beautiful. They can't deny that, the facts. Then when he hit them with how they targeted their political opponents, and then he stated Joe Biden, what everybody knows, to be the worst president. And then when he read the list of the waste, fraud, and abuse, you certainly can't deny that. And then finally, when he followed it up by saying, there's nothing I can do or say, we all know that. And they sat there still with their little signs, and they proved this point by acting so smug and immature.
Yeah, and I think you're exactly right on the specifics of the speech. And you and I love those things. For most Americans, the vibe that most people got walking away from this thing was simply this. The majority of Americans agree on these Trump policies. We are the winners. You saw these people clapping. You saw all the great things America's doing. You saw the government, cutting spending and waste and all these things and all these good things happening. And then you saw these other little pouty pants over here with their little sad paddles. And what it was doing was reinforcing to America that that's the losing team. There's a reason somebody likes to run around and say, we're leading in the polls, we're in first place, we won this award for best pizza, whatever it may be. There's a reason people do that. The consumer or Americans want to be winners. They want to identify as a winner. For a long time, Barack Obama put a whammy on this country and made most people believe you're a winner if you're a Democrat because then we know you're not a racist. Well, that's gone. That stuff is over. And Trump is saying there's something much bigger than us pointing fingers at each other, and that is American greatness. While these sad paddle holders over here are wearing their Ukraine pins without American flags on their lapels, we're going to come over here and tell you how freaking great we are and what we're going to do to make sure we're the biggest, baddest place on earth to be safe and wealthy. And that's what it's all about. And, man, that came through with flying colors last night. No question.
Well, I hope to see more speeches like that from Trump in the future, and I believe we will.
Thank you, buddy. Good call. Appreciate you, Mark. Thanks for listening in Independence. Let's go to Topeka and check in with John. Good morning, John. Welcome to Uncanceled. What's up?
Morning, Kevin. Loved the speech last night. Absolutely loved it. And I was sitting there thinking that the only thing he could have done to make it just a little bit better was to steal a line from a famous Democrat, John Kennedy, and said, when he said, I quoted, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country," and then made the statement, "I am trying to save America for Americans and make it great again. I am trying to stop the corruption, fraud, and abuse from happening in the government that's been so widespread. Who's with me?" And then after the Republicans all got up and said words that, "Okay, now what's wrong with you guys?"
Yeah. Well, he did that in his own way.
What's that?
He did that in his own way. He looked right at him and said, just for tonight, join me. This train is leaving the station. We're winning with or without you. Why don't you jump on board? That's essentially what he did. Now, he did it in a kind of a mean-spirited political Trump way, but I think he meant it. Just come on board. How can you sit there and say you want to lower taxes for every American and one side of the room doesn't clap for that? How did we get to a point where the Democrat Party is against lower taxes? Like literally their policy is we're against lowering your taxes. What on earth is wrong with those people?
I thought he should have said, this is the most anti-American side of the aisle I've ever seen in the entire history of me being alive. And just called them out that way, too, because they were anti-American. Even my wife last night, she's not very political. She was like, what is wrong with those people?
Right. Yeah, there were so many opportunities. Thank you for the call, John. I appreciate you listening to Topeka. I know we got a lot of new listeners from Topeka because I'm hearing from them. That's awesome stuff. Appreciate that. What's incredible is the number of times that he gave something that was so simple for every American that's like a 90% thing to agree on. Well, transgender sports is 83%, and they won't clap for that. It's just they're such I don't like being a name caller. But you can't look at those people and not think, wow, what a bunch of sad losers that are just flat miserable in their own world. Even when they win elections, they're miserable. Roger's in Warsaw, Missouri, and he loved that Trump speech. Hey, Roger, how you doing?
Hello?
Roger, you with us? Yeah. Roger is gone. I think we got David in Kansas City. Is that where we're going? Or Greg in Overland Park? All right, David,
here.
what's up? How you doing?
Okay, first of all, Kevin, I am pumped, and I can't agree with you more of what you said about how Trump has lifted up so far above party. And what I think he's really developing is that he's transforming America to see what good, I wouldn't even say politics, what good policies and good people do for each other. And I think people are going to look for that into a government versus being in a party. So instead of saying Dems or Republicans, they're going to look for a candidate that supports these type of views. So 100% on that. Love the speech. And the stake in the heart, I can't believe when Trump put an olive branch out to the Democratic Party telling them, hey, come join us. We're for the good of the American people. And they didn't bat an eye. They looked like I was embarrassed for the Democratic Party. Like he has extended so many olive branches out to them to be part of the winning of America, and they just refuse to take any part of it. And I think the American people are just getting disgusted with it. So 100%, the speech was on point, hit everything, send out olive branches, actually was with the people, trying to bring people together on common causes, from the child that had the brain cancer to people that were killed by the illegal immigrations. So it was on fire. So I loved it. I am pumped for America and where it's going. So that's
great call.
Where I'm at.
Great call, buddy. You're ready to get on a treadmill, or probably not going outside today, but you get on a treadmill and just run like me. I feel like Forrest Gump. I could just run from coast to coast right now. I feel so good.
I mean, don't you feel like the vibe of the American people are for America now, and people are all for it? Yes.
We are so sick and tired. Dude, we got told for 16 years that we all suck, that Americans suck, that we're bad at everything, we're evil, we're the world's problem, we're racist, we're homophobic, we're xenophobic, we should put a mask on, we should take a shot, we should sit at home and take it and enjoy it, and all this other stuff. We are sick of it. This pent-up frustration of being told that we suck. You know what I don't like? I don't like people telling me I suck. I don't.
Yeah.
And the Democrats have been telling me that I'm just a terrible person for a long time, and Americans are sick of it. We're fighting back. We're taking control. This is what it's all about.
You go into stores. I was in Home Depot the other night, and somebody just started bringing it up, and they were all excited. I'm like, this never happens. Just
never
random in Home Depot, and everybody's feeling the vibe. Everybody's coming together as one unit, and those poor Dems, if they don't get on board, there's going to be no party for them. I don't know why. It's just disgusting to me.
Yeah, they need a complete remake. There's no question. Great call. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Right.
And sometimes it takes the person. I was texting a buddy this morning. I said, and I don't want anybody who's deeply religious, and it's Ash Wednesday. I don't want to offend anybody. I didn't mean it in any real religious way, but I sort of feel like Trump was sent by God. And I don't mean sent to earth. I meant he was sent into politics for whatever reason. This man had no reason to come do this. He had every reason to just enjoy his life, be a billionaire, spend time with his grandkids, play golf, build beautiful hotels on beaches, and do whatever it is that he does. There was no reason for him to do this other than he's like, I'm pretty sure I can do better than the people that are doing this. And so he took it on. And it's an absolute blessing because it is at the very least generational for the next 25 years. It will take at least a couple, 3 decades to undo any of this. Look how long Obama had a stranglehold on this thing. A stranglehold on telling us that we sucked and we were racist and we're bad people and you're awful. And when Trump came down the escalator 10 years ago and was running and then he won, people were still afraid to say they voted for Trump. They went years without wearing MAGA hats. People didn't want to wear anything with an American flag on it. We were told this was a bad country that has done awful things forever, that the way we were founded was just ridiculously evil and terrible, and we've never gotten any better. And we're all a bunch of racists and bigots. Well, Trump came along and broke that. He made it okay to speak the truth. Ultimately, the Trump presidency will be remembered for one main thing. He brought free speech back to America. It's okay to be you, whoever you are. And he said it in the speech last night. He said it in a different way. It wasn't about free speech, but he said about transgender surgeries for children. He said the message we want to send to every kid out there is God made you beautiful just the way you are. That's exactly right. And if you want to be a Democrat and you want to be Al Green and you want to stand there with your cane and make a fool of yourself, I will totally respect your right to do that. Nancy Pelosi wants to trade stocks and cling to power and try to hang on and do the things that she's done. I respect it. I respect her grift. I respect the effort. She gets to be her. I'm okay with that. We just got to reach through to most of the people in this country that want America to be the greatest country on earth, not some sort of flagship or standard bearer for things that are wacky, that the rest of the world out looks at and goes, whoa, what's happening with those crazy people in that country? That's not what most Americans want. We got Greg in Overland Park on Uncanceled. Good morning, Greg. How are you feeling after that speech?
Hey, Kevin, I'm feeling really good. It was definitely patriotic. You could tell during the speech what was going on. I was feeling the patriotism build, and all those people that were being recognized, it definitely brought some tears to people's eyes. And, you know, Trump's a great storyteller. In contrast, you know, you asked, is that the greatest speech ever? I don't know if it's the greatest speech ever because we haven't seen them all. But in contrast,
no. Of your lifetime, name one in your lifetime that was better.
That's gonna be hard to answer.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of one.
But in contrast, what I was thinking, in contrast to last year's State of the Union, where Biden was screaming at everybody because he was so jacked up on whatever, and they were like so nervous. Oh, well, he got through the speech, the Democrats. He got through the speech. I guess at least that was a good sign, and it was just pathetic. And you know, one thing that I look at, you know, and I look at a lot of media like you do, and in CNN afterwards, their banner headline in the bottom, Trump's divisive speech. It was all about the divisiveness of his speech is what they were promoting. And I know you sometimes like to say, you know, you think CNN's going more toward the middle, but I don't think so. They're all about, well, it was strictly partisan. He's just feeding red meat to his base. He's not reaching out to try to heal the country with Democrats. And I totally disagree with that. I thought he was speaking to all Americans like you did. So I just
all Americans. Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't.
And
really
CNN
like
did an instant poll. They did an instant poll and showed how popular the speech was. They did an instant poll last night.
But I mean, their banner makes it sound completely different. So anyway, great job.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah, and I think the one thing that bothers me is that sometimes they'll have some conservatives on CNN that aren't very conservative. They're Republicans that don't like Trump. And I don't know how people don't like the man. I just don't get it. I feel like they're aliens or something. That if you haven't figured out the guy's so exposed, you know everything about him, if you can't see that there is a good person with a big heart there that's trying to accomplish peace on earth and help people have better lives all across America, I give up. That's all he wants. Do you think he cares? I'll tell you what, he would probably tell you his greatest accomplishment would be if he could make Democrat voters that didn't vote for him happy and wealthy. If I could help these people live happy lives in America and become wealthy, he's probably thinking to himself, that would be my greatest achievement. I want to help these people understand what their lives can be instead of being so miserable all the time. Oh my gosh, it's frustrating to see all that. There's so many things that were so great about this speech. He was just totally on point. And when I say it's the greatest of my lifetime, I'll just ask any of you, I'll challenge you. Think back of all the speeches you've watched. What's the greatest one you've seen? I mean, I've seen a lot of Trump speeches. This was better than all of them. It was better than all of them. He stayed on script. You know, and I got a barometer at my house, and I'm not trying to throw my wife under the bus here. She was rarely on her phone during this speech. Like, she just loves to scroll. You know, she's shopping in TikTok or whatever, or Instagram. I think she follows celebrities and stuff. Just rolling through the thing. She saw that. She got it all. Crazy. You know you're on fire. Trump did go back to the White House. There's a great video that the White House released today. He went back, and there were family members at the White House where he walked back in, and a bunch of his closest aides and his chief of staff and people like that. And they clapped for him when he came in. And he said, "Thank you very much. Thank you." And then he just kind of very Trumpian said, "If you think that was easy, well, it wasn't." And they all laughed. And it's not easy to give the greatest speech of all time. It is not easy to leave real estate and become the greatest politician of our lifetime. And he is the best. I often watch things like last night and wonder, what does George Bush think right now? George Bush was a popular enough president, but he's watching this thing, you know, Bush family, politics, GOP, the whole thing. Trump crushed them all. Trump completely transformed the party. They must be watching, and they won't say it out loud, but even like George W. Bush must be watching thinking, son of a gun, that guy went from real estate and The Apprentice and is 10 times better at this than I am. They all got to be saying it. Obama's got to be thinking it. They're all thinking the same thing. There is never, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. And prior to that, it was Reagan. And I don't know where to go before that. Abe Lincoln? I mean, you can chuckle and laugh all you want. If this works over the next 4 years and they balance the budget and we have peace on earth and we all get wealthier and safer, you might want to start getting a chisel out and carving Mount Rushmore up a little bit. You might want to think about it. He is on track for that sort of greatness. Uncanceled continues on KCMO Talk Radio.
From the nation's heartland, it's Kevin Kietzman Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM.
Got a lot of people saying the Reagan tear down this wall speech was better than this one. And maybe technically, historically, or whatever, it will be remembered that way. But that wasn't really about us, was it? That really wasn't about us. There's context to these things. This was about all Americans and things that really, really matter to us. It was a cool deal to have Germany get back together after the Cold War. That was all great, of course. But it really wasn't as much about us, was it? It wasn't. And that's why, to me, this was the best speech I've ever seen in the Super Bowl of speeches. We got a couple of news items today. The Supreme Court has told Trump that he has to unfreeze the $2 billion for U.S. aid and pay that out. Chief Justice Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett, who Trump appointed to the court, voted against him. I don't even understand this. Sam Alito is melted down. If you want to read part of his opinion, he can't even believe that a lower court judge froze this money, and now the Supreme Court has upheld that. It's stunning. The good news today is D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser is taking down Black Lives Matter Plaza, which is right by the White House. It's coming down. A lot of people think this was Trump pressure about funding. We're going to defund you if you don't get rid of this. The Black Lives Matter Plaza, which for some people has become like a monument in D.C., is gone. They're tearing it down, and they're turning it into an America 250 project. This is our 250th anniversary a year from now in July of 26. And they're going to change that plaza into America 250. That's wild. Stuff is changing rapidly everywhere. So we will take that. And there's a viral video out there today. I don't know, Mark, man, I'm running late. I'm so sorry. There's a viral video of DJ Daniel, the kid that wanted to be a police officer, the brain cancer survivor last night, where he is getting bullied and picked on by all the kids in his neighborhood for wearing a police officer's uniform. And they just, it's awful. It's kids at their worst. And people are saying this is the video that Trump saw apparently weeks ago and said, let's find that young man and let's bring him here and let's show how great it is to aspire to be a police officer or be in service of your country. This video will make you sick what the other kids did to this brain cancer survivor and how they picked on him. It's out there. Thanks for listening to Uncanceled. The Dan Bongino Show is coming up. Mark, I'm sorry. We'll get to all your topics tomorrow, buddy. I promise.